Hey guys, so today I'm going to be demonstrating how to take down a tree. This one's relatively small and it's dead. You can't tell. Don't cut down live trees if you don't have to. Dead ones are much better for firewood and shelter building, stuff like that. They don't warp as easily. So today I'm going to be using two pretty much necessary tools in the woods. I have the CRKT woods Chogan. This is a tomahawk instead of an axe. Since this tree is a lot smaller, it's a lot easier to use something of this size. It's a lot lighter as well. And pretty much a necessity for a woodsman is the Bahco Laplander. It's a small folding saw that this thing is just killer. It burns through wood. So to take this tree down, I'm going to start off with the CRKT woods Chogan. The Kydex sheath on this is an aftermarket sheath I found on eBay. They sell a leather one, but after I read reviews, it really doesn't have the best reviews. People say it doesn't really fit on it that well, so I got the Kydex sheath because it fits a lot tighter and it's a lot lighter as well. This thing is razor sharp. You get it razor sharp. I've had this for about a year, so I've touched it up a bit. It also has a pretty intense pommel on the end. It's great for pounding steaks and stuff like that. The only thing I don't like about the pommel is it would be much better if it had a like a checkered back to it, similar to a framing hammer or something like that. And the handle on this is varnished, which to a good woodsman, is kind of a big no-no. So if you take the varnish off, I put friction tape on the end, similar to hockey tape. So when I swing, I don't really lose grip because it doesn't have a big, palm swell on the end to hold on to. So I use the hockey tape so when I'm swinging, I can choke up on it, or I can get real far down here and I still have a good grip. Even if I'm working up here, I still have a good grip on it. So I'm going to start with cutting a notch in the tree, and you always want to cut a notch in the direction you want it to fall. So since there's a big clearing behind this, I want it to fall in that direction. So I'm going to cut a notch right here so that when it falls in this direction. So when you start cutting a notch, you never want to go straight on. There's a lot of ice up there. You never want to go straight on because you have a much higher chance of glancing. You never want to go too shallow either, similar. Same thing, if you go at a 20-degree angle, it has a very similar chance of glancing. So the best thing you could do is just try and stick to going at a strict 45-degree angle. And you don't have to kill the tree with each chop. These are very light chops. I typically go 2 down and 1 up, and that's the best way to get the most chunks out. See, I went too shallow and I started glancing a little bit. So I could cut all the way through this with an axe. It'd be very simple, but I want to show you how good the Bahco Laplander works. So now I have a good enough notch. It has the angle at the top and not the bottom. So what this is going to do is it's going to create a hinge wood. So when this falls, it'll pull up and it'll fall in the direction that we want it to. So never put your axe in the dirt. I'm just going to put this one through my belt loop and take out the Bahco. The reason you don't want to put your axe in dirt is the dirt is clearly full of moisture, or in this case snow, and if you do that, you have a much higher chance of rusting your axe really quickly. I believe this axe is made out of 1095 steel, which has a chance, pretty much any steel has a chance of rusting. Even stainless steel can rust. So with the Laplander, where you want to cut is, if the notch is here, you want to cut just above. So if the bottom, pretty much the flat angle is here, I want to cut about a ½ inch, in this case, above that. And I actually, this comes with a leather lanyard on it, and I typically put my wrist through that. So if my grip starts to get tired, I can rely just a little bit on that lanyard to help with my pull. So now that we're getting close, this is going to start to fall. There we go. See? Hinge wood. Perfect. Exactly where I wanted it to go. And this is cut a bit high, so we can always, come down and cut this down later. And this would make a great piece of, firewood for, obviously, for fires. And once you get this down, you don't want to use your saw. The reason so is because it's down. So if you're cutting, you're most likely going to be shoving it into dirt. You want to use your axe, and if your axe is sharp enough, it should be able to take these branches off with one whack. Let me just put the sheath away real quick. So, I mean, for a tomahawk, these are nothing. And when you cut with an axe, you always want to cut on the opposite side of the wood that you're cutting on. So if there's branches on the top, I mean, that's small, so it's a little whack, but on the other side, even if I pretty much swing along with the tree, if it glances, it's going to glance away from me. It's not going to glance towards my leg. Whereas if I want to hit them on this side, I do the exact opposite. So if I wanted to, let's say, cut this in half, what I'm going to do is, instead of cutting down, which would be your first instinct because you're trying to cut it in half, you actually want to swing the axe surprisingly towards you. On the opposite side of the log, you want to have a good split in your feet, have a good sturdy stance, so if this glances or if this goes through, it goes right between your legs. The wider your stance, actually, the better, because if this does glance, you might hit yourself in the nuts, but I mean, I'd take that over hitting myself in the leg. So also what this does is this prevents, when those final cuts go down, from digging your axe into the dirt, which this is much more durable than your saw is. Your saw is the last thing you want to dig into the dirt, but this, you still don't want to chip the edge of your axe. So swinging through, just like you were taking the tree down, and I think that because it's old, this just went right through it. Yeah, let's see if I can get a better demonstration piece. Also, one thing you could do is, since that piece is clearly broken, if you don't want to dig your axe into the dirt, popping it up on another branch like that will give you the opportunity to pretty much do the same cuts without digging this into the dirt. So I got my nice wide stance. And then if you want to spin this, it'll give you a better chance of getting through this more quickly. There we go. And like I said, because this is dead, the axe is going to go through it really quickly. But I mean, that's how you want to swing an axe when you're in the woods. So you reduce the chance of hitting yourself, and you pretty much increase the efficiency of your swings. CRKT, great tomahawk. If you get the chance, check it out. I personally recommend it. There's also another one in the series called the Woods Kanji. That, instead of the hammer pommel, has a spike on the back, and that's more for throwing. You could throw this, but I like it too much. I don't want to throw it and chip the edge. So for a lightweight option on a really heavy duty badass axe, I would recommend this all day over, carrying a big heavy axe you got at the hardware store.